Everyone, we're live officially, and I've got a great live stream for y'all. I have great notes, and so here we are. Oh, hold on. Am I live? Yep, apparently I am. So here we go. How to be unbothered for dummies. And I thought of the title because there's like so many books that you can read about like, how to do this, how to do that for dummies. And it's like a lot of people need to learn how to be unbothered because people just be going around here angry, mad at the world. And I feel like maybe I used to be one of those people, but we don't have to be mad at the world. We don't have to be mad at nobody. We don't have to be unbothered. And we're gonna get some clarity on why we're bothered and how can we learn some tricks for our mind to reverse this being unbothered. Okay. Right now, if you just joined in the live, what's up? Throw down like a, hey, hi, how you doing? How's your day? Hope everybody's day is going well. For me, it's 3 p.m. on a Wednesday. So good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whatever time of the day it is for you. I have hella notes and let's just get started. Hey Serenity, what's up? Yeah, so I have hella notes. Let's get started. So, okay. Last night, let's start this with a story. Last night I was driving in DC and I was coming back from a yoga class. Well, first of all, I was just hey. Okay, first of all, driving in DC is hectic. Okay, I live in the DMV area and I haven't driven in DC many times. Believe it or not, I would rather take the bus, but I didn't want to take the bus because I had to get on multiple buses to get to where I was going to go, and that's a little sketchy. So I drove. And when I got into the city, like on the way to my class, it was okay. So I was 30 minutes early getting into DC. The class didn't start until 6:45. I got into the city at 6:08 p.m. And for about 25 minutes, I drove around looking for a parking space because this was the first time that I was driving in DC during rush hour. And I was getting very anxious, to say the least. I was like, my breath started getting out of control. I was panicking, I was worrying. I don't want to say that I was about to have a panic attack, but maybe possibly I would have if I did not find a parking space. And I don't know why I was so, hey everybody. I don't know why I was so riled up at the end of the day because it was as if, I was going to miss a deadline for something. Like I was going to miss a plane if I didn't find a parking spot. But it wasn't that serious. It was like, okay, if I don't find a parking spot by the time the class starts, worst thing is I'll be late for the class, but they're still going to let me in. They're not one of the classes that like lock the doors, right? So I end up finding a parking spot. Boom, I get to the class, I relax. And then after the class comes, now I got to get out of DC. So I'm in DC. It's like one of the most hectic places in the US to drive anywhere. And I was driving home and I was trying to get on the highway, but my GPS was glitching. So I was driving a little slow and this car hunks at me like once. And then I'm like, okay, just go around me or whatever. And then it like hunks again, but it's like one of those long, obnoxious hunks. Like, bah! And I'm like, okay, I said some choice words. I really did. I said some choice words. And I wasn't sorry for saying the words. At the end of the day, I wasn't sorry. So I guess I just want to start out this live stream with saying, even though I am a very mindful person, like we all have our times where we just kind of get out of character. We just kind of lose it. And tension can build up and things happen. Like it's okay to like get angry. It's okay to get upset, but at the same time, right after like I said those choice words and I got angry and like yelled at my out of my car window and I like realized right afterwards what happened. Like I realized the state of mind that I was in. I realized the state of anxiety that I was in that driving can cause. And then I immediately said, okay, just relax, take some deep breaths. So I think it's more so about when it does happen, catching it afterwards and being like, okay, just chill out. Because if you're angry, I think you should let it out. If you're upset, like let it out. But sometimes we let it out on people instead of letting it out on situations. So sometimes I think we choose the wrong ways or the wrong outlets to let it out too. Because couldn't nobody hear me cussing in my car? You know what I'm saying? Like I could have got out the car in the middle of the street like some people do in road rage incidents, but I'm not about that life. And also I could have like, rolled down my window and flicked them off, but I didn't do that. So I think it's all about, choosing your battles. Anyways, if you have any questions about this topic or any like comments, always put them down in the chat. If you're just getting in here, welcome. I have a lot of things to say, but I'm trying to make this live stream like a little bit longer than I usually do, so that people who are coming in last minute can kind of get in on the conversation too. So the first thing, oh, by the way, I have a video on this, and let's see, I'm also logged into this live stream on my other device, but I'm not able to comment. I don't know what's going on. I'm having a difficult time. I feel like an old person trying to work technology, like trying to work social media sometimes, and because I don't know how to do. Oh, there it is. Okay, so whenever I need to whenever I need to comment, I'm going to comment as Holistic Fit Meditation, which is my business, because I have a YouTube channel for that. Whenever I need to drop a link, I will drop it as Holistic Fit Meditation. All right, so here we go. I did a video on this same topic a couple months ago, and I went back and rewatched that video in preparation for this video. One of the first things that I said was that other human beings are not our enemies. On Demon Time, FGC said, F them, be safe, friend. People need to take a chill pill. For real, like, honestly. So, one of the first things that I said in the original video that I filmed about this topic is that people are not our enemies. So, like I was saying before, sometimes we take our anger out, whatever we're feeling, anger, and we take it, we want to release that energy, but we take it out on people instead of certain situations. Like you may be mad at the certain situation, but if we take our anger out on human beings, we may like regret it, because it's not that like they don't deserve it. I feel like it doesn't matter who deserves it and who doesn't at the end of the day, because we all get things that we don't deserve, whether it's like a positive thing that we didn't like feel worthy of, or if it's a negative thing that we don't feel worthy of because we are good, quote unquote, good people. But it's more so about, I feel like, not seeing people as your enemy, not seeing people as a target. So it's really easy to, see like people's actions and be like, well, they need to apologize, or they did me wrong, they did me dirty, and we take on, like, we feel like we're owed something, and that's understandable. But at the same time, like, we're not fighting against human beings. Like, we're not supposed to be fighting against human beings. If anything, it's the energy within that human being, it's the spirit within them, that human being, that drove them to do something that hurt your feelings. And it's never really, to me, the human being themselves. Because I learned at the end of the day, we're all here trying to achieve pretty much the same thing. If you think about it, like, all of us want happiness. All of us want to experience joy. And if you really look at it, everybody wants the same thing out of life. It's just the way that we get there is different. We all working pretty much to survive, right? We all want to do stuff that we like to do, not stuff that we have to do. But most people are working because they feel like they have to do it, not because they want to do it. A lot of people are just stressed. If we can put ourselves in the shoes of others more often, then we would probably be a lot better off as to how we handle our situations and how we communicate our situations. Because honestly, and another thing I was saying in the video is one of the most, actually, the most thing that has helped me not be quote unquote unbothered, how you say, is meditation. And meditation, to simple it down, is bringing your awareness to one thing, one focal point, so that you can just focus. Notice when your mind wants to get angry or get upset or just feel things that you don't want it to feel, that are not serving you, and release something that is no longer serving you by bringing your attention and directing your mind. So, meditation is a mental and spiritual discipline for me because I really believe in this concept or this idea of like disciplining the flesh. And to me, that's not like a religious thing. It has nothing to do with religion. It has everything to do with your spiritual presence, like among other people. Because, like I said, we're not fighting people. Like, we're not fighting physical things. It's not people that are getting you upset. It's the spirit within that person. So, like, we need to think spiritually. It's a spiritual discipline for me to direct my mind because I know that my thoughts sometimes go on autopilot. Our thoughts go on autopilot, and I don't want to get too off topic here, but this goes with the with this whole idea. Like, stick out your thumb and really stare at your thumb real quick. And notice how when you stare at your thumb, everything else in the background that counts as your peripheral vision is blurred out. So everything in your background represents your subconscious mind, while your thumb represents your conscious mind. So when you stare at your thumb, your conscious mind is only aware of one thing at a time. Like, for example, right now, if you're multitasking, if you're like watching this live stream while washing dishes or I don't know, doing something else, or you're at work, you're multitasking. So even though you're multitasking, your mind can only focus on one thing at a time. So if you're multitasking, you're like listening to a little bit of the live stream and then going back to work and then listening to a little bit more and then going back to work. So your mind is jumping back and forth between things, but it's not focusing on multiple things at once because your mind can't do that. Our mind can only, our conscious mind can only focus on one thing at a time, which is why the thumb is clear, everything in the background is blurry. So our subconscious mind is so much more expansive than our conscious mind. And everything in our subconscious mind is on autopilot because we're not aware that it's there. And those are the things that we suppress, the ideas, the emotions that come up throughout the day. Somebody got on our nerves. So, and we don't have time to deal with that right now because I ain't trying to be bothered right now. So we suppress it. But everything that becomes suppressed comes back up. So our subconscious mind really runs the show. What we really want to do is become more aware of those subconscious thoughts. And instead of suppressing our thoughts, direct the conscious mind in order to become more aware of the subconscious thoughts. Because there's so much stuff in our subconscious thoughts from our childhood, trauma and stuff, just mess in our subconscious. And we're not aware of it, but we should become aware of it because if we're not aware, then we don't understand that our subconscious mind is ruling like literally 95% of the things that trigger us. When you get triggered, it's kind of like it's not even a conscious thought. It's sort of like a light switch goes off, and that's because it's subconscious. You're not aware of it, and you didn't plan to make it happen. So I forgot what the basis of what I was saying was, because that was sort of a tangent, but it was still very relevant to this topic. But I guess to bring it all full circle, I was talking about meditation, and then I was talking about people are not our enemies. So we're not wrestling against the people, we're wrestling against the thought. And because it's spiritual to me, and I think it is a spirit within people that moves us to do certain things, I think it should be handled spiritually. Everyone everyone sort of, and I have my notes down here, so occasionally I'll be looking down and reading my notes. Everyone has the same goal in life, honestly. Ultimately, all of us want happiness, and that's why we do what we do. Some of us don't know how to handle the fact that we're not happy, so we do difficult things. But one way to get over being so bothered by people's actions is to, number one, notice that sometimes we are unhappy too. Sometimes we are not perfect too. And we can release judgment of the people who we criticize or the people who have hurt us, because we know that we've been criticized and there are things that we've done that have hurt other people too, because we're all human. So that means just seeing all humans as just that, humans. When you do that, it can allow us to put ourselves in other people's shoes. And I think that's so important, because now when I look at other people, I don't see them as a bad person or a good person. I just see them as a person. And I actually don't believe in a bad person or a good person. We only think that about ourselves, or we only think that about other people, because the judgment that we honestly cast on ourselves is the judgment with what it is, the judgment that we use on other people. And that's, I mean, I love reading the Bible, so I know that's biblical. Like, literally, the measure that you judge others, that same measure will be used to judge you. And that's just a rule of life. So if you're unable to put yourself in other people's shoes, other people will be unable to do that to you. A prime example of this is how a lot of people can identify right off bat that I am a calm person at nature. And the tone of voice that they would use to speak to another person that isn't so calm is not the same tone of voice that they would use to speak to me, because energy is matched. So like if somebody is really riled up at work, and this is why I think one of the reasons why at my old job I was able to work my way up to a manager, and I was able to do my job really well, because there was a lot of fights going on at my job, a lot of people just stressed. I think that I worked in the gym. I think they was pumped off of that pre-workout and whatnot. But anyways, there was some fights that was breaking out at the gym, and I would always be the one that, like, the manager above me would be like, okay, go handle that. They wouldn't say it like that, but like they would be like, okay, you're the one who speaks nicely and has a calm tone of voice, so you can break it up really easily. You're the best person for this. And I'll be like, okay. I'll go over there, and like people be like yelling at each other, cussing, and I'll be like, okay, what happened here? And well, first of all, I listen to people, but then second of all, when people are angry and yelling, consciously, I don't return the same amount of energy that they're putting into talking to me. So if at first they're coming off at me yelling and talking and stuff like that, once you come to them with like, okay, and how does that make you feel? Like, you see how calm that is? And that calms other people down. So that goes back to the judgment. Like, if you're willing to like not judge other people and listen more than you speak, then other people will do the same to you, and energy will be matched. So literally, the judgment that you cast upon other people, that same judgment will be cast upon you. That's just how life works. But then another thing is that, and also if y'all have any comments, any questions, if you just got in here, say what's up, put a comment down below. But because I don't want to just feel like it's just me talking. But another thing I noticed is that sometimes it just depends on the person, but sometimes people will get even more angry the more unbothered you are. And I don't know what type of people to put what type of category to put those people in, or to even put them in a category, but it's some people that just so unbothered that the more calm that you are, the more that it gets them riled up. Because I've been in those situations before, to where, and I think it's because when you have your own peace, and other people can visually see that, and they know that they don't have that same peace within themselves, or they think that they can't attain it, they try to steal that peace from you the best that they can, because there are some people who are energy leeches. So if you have peaceful energy, if you have that grounded energy, and you do your meditation, you practice mental and spiritual discipline of directing your thoughts, some people just don't believe that they can attain that. I believe everybody can attain that. But the people that don't want to be energy leeches, and they want to steal that away from the people who are really sure and grounded within themselves. So they'll try to cuss at you. They'll try to make you as bothered as possible. And this is another topic, but I feel like unbothered people, it's kind of like a superpower. People sometimes may gravitate towards you, and that may be a good thing. It may be a positive thing. It may be a negative thing, depending on how you look at it. Both people will gravitate towards you. Energy leeches, because they want some of that like unbothered energy, and then positively other people who are grounded and secure within themselves too, because they want to feed off of it. I wonder how I become less judgmental when it comes to myself. I'm definitely going to get to that, Jakers. I'm definitely going to get to that. I'm going to get to, self-validation, how to not, how to be, I guess, become your best friend, and stuff like that. Shalom, shalom. Mike G, the Prophet. I like reading y'all's YouTube names, because some of them I cannot say. I feel like I'm just messing them up. Earlier, I had the epiphany that we are all. I had the epiphany that we are our only enemy in life. Wow. And the final boss is your own brain. Ooh. Wow. That just hit harder. Being that our thoughts direct our lives. It's you versus you. Let me talk about that. Come on. Let me talk about that. Come on. Because you on to something. Thank you for that. Thank you for all of you. Thank you for your comments. Okay, let's just start with that first sentence. We are our only enemy in life. Wow. I mean, I think that's powerful, because it really is a battle of our own thoughts. I also recently had a similar epiphany. Hello. Just saying hi to everybody who's commenting. I had that similar epiphany. I was thinking about why we have thoughts. Just think about it for a second. Why do we think? We think to reason, to apply logic to situations. I also thought about the difference between knowledge and wisdom. So, first of all, most of our thoughts aren't even our thoughts. I would venture to say over 95% of the thoughts that run across our mind did not originate from us, the person. It originated from something that we watched, something that somebody else told us. They're shaped by the outside world. And I just started to see how useless our thoughts are when it comes to navigating life compared to wisdom. So there's sometimes, most times actually, I'll be having a conversation with somebody and I'll just say something that I didn't plan on saying. I don't know. It didn't register in my mind that I was going to say it, but it just came out of my mouth. And it didn't originate with my thoughts. It didn't originate with my logic. It originated with divine guidance, which is wisdom. And so when I really recently realized the difference between logic and wisdom, or knowledge and wisdom, I realized that we need less knowledge and more wisdom. Less logic, reasoning, thoughts, because logic and reasoning and going in circles about like what are our own thoughts up here, it matters less when you have wisdom, because wise words correlate, or they resonate with most people in the room, versus thoughts are like the thought. Well, first of all, thoughts can take you like down a rabbit hole, but like thoughts can be so insignificant in the, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Thoughts are insignificant, plain and simple. And the more that we think, I feel like the more that we put ourselves in a loop. But I definitely agree with that statement. It resonated with me that the final boss is your own brain. Because the more that we think, the more that our mind wanders. This just correlates to like why I'm so passionate about teaching what meditation truly is. It is directing your thoughts, being, I would say, a master of your thoughts. Not that you'll finally be able to not have wandering thoughts, but that you'll be able to direct your mind to where you want it to go, not to where your mind goes on autopilot. And that's why I say that thoughts often don't serve us, because the more that we play those thoughts over and over and over on autopilot, the more that we create, like our thoughts are literally the blueprint for our reality. So the thoughts that aren't serving you, it goes with like, subconscious and conscious thinking. If you're not aware of that subconscious, that's like the 95 percentile of what leads to actions in your reality. If you're not taking charge of your thoughts, if you're not directing your mind, then your thoughts are ultimately, negative ones and positive ones are having the largest effect over the negativity in your life. I hope that wasn't too long of an explanation. That is so true. It's you versus you. Michael Lazima said, knowledge just describes the world. Wisdom tells you how to live in it. Wow. Y'all amaze me. Certainly, I feel knowledge is so textbook. Knowledge is like a squared plus b squared equals c squared. Like, who needs to know that? I'm not trying to hate on math or anything, but, and wisdom is something that no other human being can tell you, but yet it resonates with most other human beings in the world. And if it doesn't resonate, then it probably wasn't the message for them. That's so true. Okay. So going back to my notes here, I have a lot of them. And I'm going to get to later on finding that confidence within yourself of how to not, what did somebody else say? How to become less judgmental when it comes to yourself. Jakers, I'll get to that. So, okay, boom. Sometimes we feel the need to fight to be seen, to be heard. We all want to be seen. We all want to feel heard and seen, right? One of the most popular videos on my channel, the most popular video on my channel actually, is the one where I talked about the feeling of loneliness, seasons of isolation, and feeling like you don't fit in. And believe it or not, there's more people that feel like that than don't feel like that, because the amount of people that commented on the video, like the video, and I know it was a lot more than what I had actually intended when I made that video. I was just trying to like tell my side of the story, really. But the response that I got from it was far greater than what I was even aware of, which just shows other people how I think not feeling heard, not feeling understood is actually more so the majority than the minority. I think the minority is more so people who want to act like they feel like they fit in with everybody, or they feel like they're always heard, always understood. But most people just want that listening ear. Hey, chat. Yeah, most people just want that listening ear. But a lot of us in that endeavor to get that listening ear, I feel like we fight to be understood. If we believe in something very strongly, we argue our way into being validated and being seen and being heard. And so this is where I get into, I'm just looking at my notes here. This is where I get into the self-love aspect and the self-validation, because think about when you're in an argument. I think the main reason why I stopped seeing arguments as so valuable is because if you believe in something very strongly, even if you think that belief is very valuable for other people to know because it will help other people, if your case isn't being believed by other people, it's okay. We don't have to try to prove ourselves right to anybody, because we know in our hearts that we're right. We know what feels right. And honestly, nobody else is going to go into the grave with us. Like, that's nobody else's body is going to be going along with us to the next stage in our soul's journey in this life. So why do we search for validation from other human beings when other human beings are just that? They're human beings. We put other human beings on a pedestal, just like the search to be understood, to be heard, to be accepted is so much more valuable than our own self-love. And maybe it's because a lot of people might not know how to love themselves. To be honest, I don't really know how to teach self-love, but I feel like I've been grasping it. Maybe it hasn't been exactly mentioned in a lot of my videos, but I just try to like make the example of it. It's knowing that whatever you believe in, whatever your values are, whatever your worth is, even if other people don't see it, you believe it for yourself, and that is enough. But I believe that true self-love and confidence, also sureness in yourself, exudes to other people so that other people see that, and it's sort of contagious. And other people might want to know, how do you do it? And then you're just like, well, it could be different factors. It could be the way that you were raised, how other people treat you. I actually think that does play a huge role in it. And if other people treat you like you don't deserve confidence within yourself, then that is a battle of the mind that we have to fight, because we then have to fight the thoughts that other people try to put in our head about our own self. But the more that we know thyself, and that's an African proverb too, like know thyself. I think that's the first one, like important one. Know thyself is that, like, you know your core, who you are at the heart. And that is what like all confidence stems from, so that when somebody else tries to call you out your name, or somebody tries to say something about you that deep down isn't true, but like if you keep hearing it over and over again, you start to question yourself. You're like, wait, is that really true? Like, for example, if somebody tried to tell me that my eyebrows are really thin, I don't know, that's just the first thing I came, and I'm like, okay, the first time I hear it, I'm like, okay, that's not true. And then the second, third time, fourth time I hear it, and like over and over again, people thoughts and people's words start to become your reality because you allow them to penetrate your mind, and then you keep like second guessing yourself, like, maybe my eyebrows are thin, like maybe that is true what they're saying about me. And if you know yourself, though, if you are the number one creator of your own reality and your own self-worth, then other people's words, they can't touch how you feel about yourself, because how you feel about yourself is how you feel about it, whether other people feel differently or not. And that's like self-confidence and, what was it? Less judgmental. I mean, that goes with judgment too, and I'm gonna get to the comments too. That goes with judgment too. And let me real quick touch on the judgment part very specifically, because I think it has a lot to do with forgiveness, self-forgiveness. If you're like constantly judging your actions, I think it has a huge thing to do with grace. And like I said, how you feel about yourself, I think, has a lot to do with how other people treat you. So if every move you make, you have somebody criticizing your every move, or maybe if those people are like the closest people that were to you growing up, like your family and your friends who maybe people who raised you, then you'll start to be very critical of yourself and judgmental of yourself. Every move that you make, you'll be saying, okay, why did I do this? Or I have to do this a certain way. And that just comes with giving yourself grace, honestly. We're human, we slip up. And that even goes back to seeing all other human beings as on the same playing field. We wouldn't see so much judgment within ourselves if we didn't realize that every other person has been judged the same amount. I'll say the same amount because we're all on the same playing field. We all want the same thing in life. And so yeah, that's just that's just what I'm gonna say about that. It's all about forgiveness and having grace upon yourself. We're all human beings, and not taking ourselves so seriously. That's something that I had to get over recently. Being able to take a joke more and joking with myself more, and just everybody, we're all people who have been created, not just spiritually, but we have literally shaped and created our personality, the way that we walk, the way that we talk, the way that we act, the things that we like, our favorite color. All of them have been shaped and created by physical things, by the things that we've seen and experienced. So we are all creations and physical manifestations. What am I trying to say? The things that we know about ourselves aren't really us at the core. They're just things that have been created and that we've perceived about ourselves for years, but it's not really us. So if you've created that perception, why can't we create another perception? If my favorite color has been yellow for years, that becomes a part of my identity. And sometimes we don't want to change that about ourselves. But tomorrow I can change my favorite color to red because I created that. If I have a high pitched voice, I can change my, I can change my, I wouldn't do that. I can change my voice to like a lower pitched voice and start acting like I have a lower pitch. You know what I'm saying? I mean, some things are genetic, but at the same time, we've all created this version of ourselves that we perceive. So if you want to change it, then create another version. I know it's not that simple, but it that's what it dwindles down to. Any tips on depression, and what are your thoughts on psychiatric medication? All right, so I'll just say that I've never experienced clinical depression. I've never been diagnosed with depression, so I can't speak on this from a personal viewpoint. However, I've been closely associated with many people who have gone through depression, and that doesn't, I don't think that validates me to speak on it a lot. But I will say that it can depend on your environment. I think it heavily does depend on the environment, but it can also depend on genetic factors. But I think more than anything, it does depend on the environment. And that's just based upon research and honestly, like a lot of TED Talks that I've watched about it. So that's all I'm going to say about tips on depression. I think maybe I have a video on like seasonal depression. It was a while ago. Because I haven't gone through it specifically, because depression is a well, let me really quick like define it, because I think depression, the words depression and anxiety get thrown around a lot in today's world. And I don't want to invalidate anybody's experience, but clinical depression is a series of feeling hopelessness, apathy, sadness, but it doesn't always look the same. At the same time, it is either, weeks or months of a continuous cycle of feeling down. And I just wanted to specify that because it does get thrown around a lot when the clinical definition isn't maybe people's experience, but they say they're depressed, but it's not the clinical definition. So I think environment is one of the number one factors. And I also think that when scientists say that genetic factors are linked to depression, it is really the people who you're surrounded with. So when they say genetic factors, it could be passed down from your parents to you or grandparents or parents to you. And it also could be just being around those people or being within the same household as those people. Mind you, something like dementia, Alzheimer's, that runs in my family. My grandmother had it, my great grandmother had it before then. And it that is more so of like definitely like a genetic factor, because it's very unlikely that the people that you live with are going to give you Alzheimer's. But I think it's a combination of things. How I feel about psychiatric medication. This is just a general sense. Oh, I'll say this one more thing about depression. Sorry. Depression is your mind lingering in the past, and anxiety is your mind in the future. That's one thing I definitely know for sure, because I understand the power of meditation and being in the present moment. Depression is your mind stuck in past thoughts. And that is why trauma is so severely linked to depression if it's not genetic. I guess I do know more about depression than I think I do. And that is also why anxiety and depression are linked together, and people experience anxiety and depression together, is because it's just a lack of the mind being in the present and being content with this moment right now. It's like, I'd rather be somewhere else. I'd rather not be here, or I just rather rather than this. And that can be difficult. So yeah, that's what I'm going to say. And then about psychiatric medication, I think it's a personal choice. I know that a lot of people have experienced feeling like a zombie, because what it does, it suppresses the receptors that all the sciences, basically it takes away not caring. You don't give about anything. And there are different medications out there, but overall, I think it dulls down the underlying cause it dulls down the surface level feelings without getting to the underlying root. So it can't cure anything. It just can make you feel like a zombie. But I know that medication has helped a lot of people, so I don't want to completely knock it, but I can't say that I'm completely in support of it without considering other alternative medications. Just because I think that, I've been to therapy before for, a variation of anxiety. And one of the first things that the doctor tried to put me on it within 3 weeks of being on therapy is anxiety medication. And I guess that changed the way that I think about like psychiatric medication, and the way that honestly hospitals and doctors get paid more. They make their money specifically off of diagnosing people with disorders and prescribing a pill. That's all I'm going to say about it. Let's get to these other comments. Hey. Thanks. I did this twisting today. I'm going to have a video on it soon. People try to make me feel dumb. I used to go through that with some people that I used to work for, and I had to put a stop to it. Yeah, gotta put a stop to that for real. And people are intelligent in different ways. I don't think there's anything there's nothing dumb like about anybody. Like if somebody thinks that you're dumb, or if you think that you're dumb, it's honestly that you have an intelligence that is different than the perceived majority, because everybody is intelligent in something. Some people have math intelligence, some people have science intelligence, reading, writing, etc. Some people have kinesthetic intelligence. If you dance, some people have musical intelligence. Some people see colors and shapes when they hear music. There's a whole plethora of spiritual gifts and intelligence. So that just doesn't even seem right to me that, people try to make you feel dumb, because I've personally been through that, not understanding like side comments and jokes. I've been called slow before. So yeah, you got to put a stop to that. Could you speak on how our personalities may change around different people and how to overcome that? For example, I find myself always going into childlike energy around my mother. Well, I think that can go, I think that can be from a survival mode. You or we feel like we may not feel the most comfortable being our most authentic self, whatever that is, or maybe you may not have found your most authentic self, so you feel the need to like code switch around certain people. Before I found my most authentic self, which I didn't find until I was in like complete isolation away from most human influence, is when I found myself being able to be my most authentic self around every single person, and like the way that I talked, the way that I acted did not change based upon who I was around. And I think that it could be maybe the relationship that you have with that person, possibly the way that that person makes you feel. Like, do they make you feel like you are childlike, or do they make you feel like you have to be cared for, or so I think that it could be a number of things, but ultimately stemming out of the need to or not feeling like you can be your most authentic self around those people that you have to change around. The generational curses. Sorry, I just talk so much that these comments are coming in and I can't even remember what I could. Oh, you're talking about the inherited genetic things. Yeah. Yeah, some people would call those generational curses, which Will was talking about when I was talking about earlier about disorders being passed down. Yeah, I think that those could definitely be generational curses. They can come in many forms. They can come mentally, financially, physically. They can come in all different modes. I am different when I'm alone versus when I'm around others. Could you speak on what that may be? Yeah, like I was saying before, like a survival technique. Not feeling like you can be your most authentic self when you're around others. So yeah, I think that's what it dwindles down to. Never thought of it in that way. Yep. What about medications for physical conditions? Oh, so physical conditions. Okay, so like the first thing that comes up for me when you say physical conditions is like pain. And I mean, I personally think that anything that masks how you physically feel is just like it's just like mental conditions. Just like how for somebody with anxiety, for example, they take anxiety medications. It may suppress the anxiety, but then it also may just take away surface level feelings without getting to the root cause. And it's like putting a band-aid over the situation. While, say, if you're in pain, taking like an Advil or like a Tylenol, it's, well, first of all, it's temporary and you have to take one every day. And then your body's trying to tell you something when your body is feeling something. When your tummy is upset, it's trying to tell you that, oh, maybe you need to eat better, maybe you need to drink more water, something is wrong. And when we take something to like alleviate that feeling, it is just not listening to the body. So there's always something that we can do more to like kind of like listen to the body. And that's why I like body scan meditation. Excuse me. We actually, my voice. See, my body trying to tell me that I need to drink some water. That's what my body's trying to tell me. So yeah, body scan meditation allows you to kind of like listen to your body. And there's things that our body tries to communicate to us, but we may not know the signs or we may not understand the signs. So we just pass it off. But I think it can be based upon the severity, right? So if you don't know about alternative medicines, you may not know that there's even another option other than, for example, like high blood pressure that runs in my family. But I really think that it's not genetic. It is just a choice that if your mom cooked a certain meal for you all the time, then you'll be more prone to cook that certain meal for your children and their children and their children, and it will be passed down until somebody realizes that this is diabetes on a plate. I don't think I want to eat this, right? So then they break the generational curse or like the genetic predisposition, which a lot of doctors try to make it seem like it's genetic, but it's not really genetic. It's just the tradition mostly has been passed down, right? So like for example, high blood pressure, it's like if you don't understand that there are herbs that can lower your blood pressure, even yoga poses that if you have your feet elevated above your head, that literally returns your oxygen and blood circulation back down to the heart, away from your extremities to lower your blood pressure. It's like if you don't know the alternatives and if you aren't educated about that, you won't think that there's any other way than taking a pill. And by the way, there are I'm not gonna lie, I'm a plant medicine expert, but I would highly suggest speaking with a professional. I've literally spoken to herbalists and, well, I'm friends with like herbalists and I know them personally, and people who grow plant medicine on an actual farm and have a little bit of knowledge about what I take before I take it. And so there are plant medicines that you can take once or twice and they can pretty much do the trick, if you know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to say cure, but they can pretty much do the trick. Whereas a pill, like a medication, think about it, they make you take it once a day or maybe even twice a day. And most likely that pill that you take for that condition will cause another physical deficiency that you'll have to take another pill for and another pill for. And so it just think about like when they have pill commercials, they have all of these different side effects and stuff like that. I don't want to get too off the topic because, yeah, but yeah, exactly. You could be practically intelligent or have high emotional intelligence. Yep. You're welcome. Thanks for all these comments, y'all. I'm just going to get to the rest of these comments and then get back to our original topic, which was being unbothered. But these are great topics too. Are generational curses related to genetics being a factor of depression? Yeah, so I think I just talked about that. Yeah, so it could be, I think it could be both. It could be like something that's passed down genetically, but then also it could be the environment, either one. And foods are definitely a factor. Yeah. Have you have you practiced on being a breatharian, the food? Oh, it's rare to find real organic seeds. So I would not be a brethrenarian. I don't know how you say it, but I know what it is. It's when, okay, whenever I think of this, I think about like that episode of SpongeBob when he was like, let's filter feed because he didn't have no food. But anyways, like a breatharian is somebody who only lives off of this idea of circulating your breath throughout your body so you get more oxygen circulation and some more science with that too. But and I need some water because I've been talking for a long time. But I don't think it's sustainable to just not, especially not to drink water. I think if you fasted and if you want to do like a dry fast, I think that would be all right. So I've been skimping on my water, but I don't think that it's sustainable. I don't think that that is sustainable long term. You have to have at least water, I think. And I'm not super big on like making sure my food is organic. I'm really big on like making sure that I get all the colors in the rainbow in my diet because I've seen the one of the biggest benefits for that for me. Thoughts on marijuana and do you do marijuana? So I don't think that it's for everybody. And honestly, for being real, a lot of the marijuana these days is low key laced. And I think that once a plant medicine has touched human hands, like it didn't come like straight out of the ground, it's compromised in some type of way, unfortunately. I don't like to, like, I more so like to, eat it. So yes, occasionally, like, I don't, it's not like a daily thing for me by any means, but I do use it intentionally, and I'll just say that. So a lot of the people who grow like marijuana, they'll mix two female plants, or they'll breed, I should say, two female plants. And how you gonna get a seed from two female plants? Like, how that work? So that just goes to show that you really need to be mindful about where you're buying whatever you're buying from. What is in the, like, do you literally know how they grow it and whose hands has it been in? That's all I'm gonna say. Don't just be out here smoking anything just because you think it is what it is. I also think that it's not for everybody. It can induce anxiety. If you already have anxiety, you should be mindful about how much you are taking and what is your intention of doing it. Because I don't believe in a bad drug or a good drug. It's simply, why are you doing it? Point blank. Think about why people do Molly. They're at a party and they're like, hey, I want to get effed up. But I've never heard anybody, for example, overdose on anything when their intention was to chill out, relax, relieve pain, or anything positive. So do you have a intention literally to hurt yourself? Because that's literally what people say when they say I want to get effed up. They're literally like, I want to hurt myself, and that's what you end up doing because your intention with it is not good versus something else. I also think that a lot of the times it can be addictive. I don't think it is supposed to be an addictive plant medicine. However, because of the factors that I aforementioned, the way that a lot of people breed the marijuana with two female plants, how that work, I don't know. And also they mix it with things like probably shouldn't be mixing together. So yeah. Water is important, yes. And I'm about to get back to like our topic at hand and then probably gonna end it in a little while because it's getting to an hour. But any plans for the summer? Yeah, I'm going on a couple retreats, which I'll actually announce. I'll start announcing in my later videos. I'll start announcing when I go ahead and make the future video, the next video that's coming out on Friday. There's a retreat coming up that I will be doing meditation and yoga sessions in July, the 15th through the 17th. And I'll make sure I put the link in the description box of this video once I post it. But yeah, you'll definitely know about like retreats or events that I'm having. Also, I have an outdoor yoga. If you're in the DMV area, I have an outdoor yoga class on Saturday. And you go to my Instagram, you'll see it on my Instagram at Lauren Rainey. Cool. You can go to link in my any description box that I have in any video, and you can find my Instagram account. So let's get back to this idea of, because I wasn't I wasn't done with my notes. I have so many notes on this. on feeling unbothered, by the way. Okay, so self-confidence. Act as if you have more confidence than you actually have. Fake it till you make it. I think it actually works when we're talking about this, because it just does. Like when you act as if you have more confidence, it's like not really actually being fake, but you start doing things that you know will allow you to be more confident. All right, and okay, this is a big one. I think, well, I know actually, a lot of our emotions, we choose to have those emotions. And I know that's like really difficult for some people to grasp their minds around. Like, I choose to be bothered. What? You're welcome. For doing the live stream. But yeah, a lot of people choose to be bothered. Here's how. For example, I was telling a story in the very beginning of the live stream, how my day was yesterday when I was coming back from a yoga class. Somebody kind of like pissed me off and I said some choice words. So they hugged one time and I didn't do anything, right? They were behind me trying to, I guess, get around me. I was driving kind of slow because my GPS was glitching and I was trying to get out of DC. So the person behind me, they hugged one time and I didn't say anything. They hugged again. And this time it was like a really obnoxious hunk, like that long hunk that they'd be like, duh! Like, why you gotta do all that? Chill out. Just go around me. There's space, I promise. After they did that, boom. I told myself, like, here's what people do. We say, I'm about to get so angry. If this person hunks one more time, I'm about to get so upset, so riled up. Don't we say that all the time? Like if somebody's tapping you and they keep tapping you and you're like, stop doing that or I'm gonna get blank. So most of the times we literally call on the emotions that we're about to feel. It's like we're summoning emotions. It's like we're trying to prepare ourselves for the emotions that we're about to feel. But that's literally how we do, because our thoughts are the blueprint of reality. So I'll have this saying, and it's not my saying. I'm not sure where the quote is from. So if you know, then put the person's name in the chat. But it is, where your attention goes, your energy flows. Where your attention goes, your energy flows. Excuse me. So where is your attention at? Like, is it on summoning these emotions that you're about to feel, creating those emotions? Or like I was talking about earlier, are we able to kind of like direct our mind, because we have to be the master over our thoughts? It's us versus us. I'm sorry. I just saw the strong ego said ready to slap the crown chakra. That was funny. That was funny. Yeah, but it's like where is your attention going? Like, we literally choose to become bothered because of where we allow our attention to go to. And if you are working on directing your mind and mastering your thoughts by telling them where to go, not your thoughts telling you where to go, which is through your subconscious mind, being aware of your subconscious thoughts and realizing that your subconscious is 95% of your actions. Taking charge of your subconscious mind, then boom, you got it in the bag. One city I thought about moving to, what is it like there? In DC, it's loud, it's ratchet. I'm just kidding. It's honestly, it's a combination of the hood. It's a combination of everything because there is a lot of culture in DC. There's a lot of history in DC. We all know the White House is there, of course. And there's a lot to do in DC. It's loud. To me, it's kind of loud. I have lived in Maryland my whole life, and I've been to DC. I've been to like the museums, but there's always something new to see. I feel like I have a really biased opinion because I've lived in the DMV all of my life, and DC is what you make it. A lot of the culture has been kind of like gentrified. Let's just be real. Gentrification is real. Okay? There did not used to be as many people have been taking out the hood, taking out their hood, taking out their houses, had to move elsewhere, had to be pushed out of the outskirts of DC, and honestly more so on the skirts of where I live. And so there's a bit of everything. You can see, a person walking their dog. And then you turn around. Okay, so you see like what looks like luxurious buildings, and then you turn the corner and then you might be in the hood, So it really is like that. It's a very interesting place, but it's cool. It just depends on what type of what part of DC you're talking about. Would you move out of DC? Well, I don't live in DC. I live in Maryland. But yeah, I'll move to somewhere that's a lot cheaper. I'll probably move to like Texas or something. All right. So I'm almost done with my notes. Yeah, like I was saying, like even though I meditate every day, I still slip up. Like in the beginning of the video, I was talking about, I said some choice words to that person who honked at me, and it was kind of like a reflex, kind of like an instinct. But the difference is I realized right afterwards why I did what I did. I realized why I was angry, and then I kind of had a little powwow with myself. And honestly, nobody's gonna be perfect. We're all on a journey, and as long as we know that we're on a constant journey and a journey never ends, you're always improving yourself, and it's okay if you don't improve in your own time, then you're good. Let's not criticize ourselves so much. Also, if you want to cuss, then cuss. If you want to, if you need to let something out, then let something out. And I feel like it is necessary to express our emotions. Of course, we can be mindful about it. But if it doesn't hurt people, then it doesn't hurt them. Like when I cussed, the person didn't hear me. I was in my car, the windows was open. I didn't open the window and be like, hey, I didn't do any of that. So it didn't hurt anybody. So it was all good. If you need to let your anger out, let your emotions out, I just suggest letting it out, doing it, and do it in a way that doesn't hurt anybody, but benefits you at the same time. All right, so that's all of my notes. What are some things that you all have that help you be unbothered? Hello from Ohio. Come to Cleveland. Maybe I will someday. That's how I feel. I went most of my life not cussing and being proud of it. Now I don't care anymore. Not that I would look to cuss, but if I cuss, I cuss. Yeah, that's how it is. It's like at some point, if not cussing is a goal that you have because of a specific thing, then don't do it. But at some point, sometimes it can start to feel fake because in your head you cuss all the time, but like outside, you just don't. Inside, your mind is not who you are outside, and that used to be me. and and that's why in that video what I was talking about, the most popular video on my channel, which is like the title is like, why you feel alone, don't have any friends, and I was talking about how people perceived me as just like the most innocent princess person. And whenever I say a cuss word, they'd be like, you said a cuss word? You cuss? And it was always in my head, but it just never came out. So when it comes out, it was like it was an outward expression of an inward feeling. But I try not to cuss. Sometimes it comes out. But I also believe, like I said earlier, in disciplining yourself, disciplining your flesh. So we should try not to do things, like I said, that hurt other people. And I think profanity is something that can hurt other people, because if you're cussing at somebody, then that is hurting them. So, but if you stub your toe and you're like, ah, like that ain't hurt nobody. You're letting that out. Like that that F-bomb released some energy. Mindfulness is key. Yes, it is. Definitely is. See, I still question the concept of spirituality, but yet I was like, I know she's from the DMV, never questioning it again. That's all I'm gonna say. Oh, okay. I mean, my channel caters to a specific I guess yeah, it definitely channels to like a specific people with like a specific viewpoint, but I do know that people of all different religious and spiritual backgrounds. I'm sorry, there's a car that honked like really loud. People from all types of religious and spiritual backgrounds I relate to and don't even discriminate, because what you believe in is what you believe. Not here to debate it, not here to, I'm just here to be the most true to what I believe and stand firm in that. Because if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. But the thing that you stand for, just make sure that it truly resonates with you and it is what you believe, regardless of what the person next to you believes. But yeah, that's okay. I'm very introverted and feel ostracized at work. Well, welcome to the introversion club. I feel like a lot of us are introverts. There's different types of introverts. So a lot of people are probably introverts, but don't seem like it. Some people are introverts who also are social. And then some people are introverts when they feel like it. Like me, I'm kind of like a part-time introvert, because sometimes I just don't feel like talking to anybody. But if you catch me on the right day, I'll talk to everybody. At the end of the day, I will still go back into my little corner and do my own thing. And that is, I think, what, a healthy introvert looks like. But I mean, healthy introversion can look like so many things. So words are power. Definitely. As a content creator, do you have trouble with perfectionism when it comes to making and releasing videos? Great question. Yes. I used to have a lot more perfectionism traits about myself. However, now not so much. Because I realized that in order to get to success, you have to fail a couple times. And failure is what we actually want to gravitate towards. Not like we want to seek failure, but failure is good. And if you're talking about YouTube specifically, your first 50 videos are just gonna suck compared to all the rest of your videos. So I think in order to be progressing in what you do, you can't be a perfectionist in any way, type, shape, or form. Especially as an entrepreneur, you cannot be a perfectionist and have it work, especially if you want to scale a business. I always knew I was introvert, and then one day I took Myers-Briggs for a college class, and that's where I learned I'm ISTJ. Oh, okay. I don't really know about all the other introverts. I don't know what that stands for, but there is so many different variations, which amazes me. But at this time, I'm afraid I gotta get off live and skedaddle to go teach a yoga class. But I do look forward to doing live streams, hopefully, if not every week, every 2 weeks. So definitely make sure that you have your notifications for this channel turned on. It'll either be on a Wednesday or Sunday, probably. So yeah, thank you all for every single comment that you've commented. Thank you for your interaction and your questions. This was a great chat. And also, have a great day too. Have a great day, everybody. And also make sure that you're following me on Instagram. Check all the links in the description box so you can be updated on future events. And also that retreat that I was talking about, yes, look out for the dates and times. It's a retreat in Pennsylvania that's going to be happening. Glamping, it's called, camping, glamping. So look out for that. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Peace.